Hello, romance lovers. Today I have a story for you called Marriage with the Grand Duke. Don't forget to support this video with a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new interesting stories. Thank you for watching. Late evening. The action takes place in one of the city's entertainment venues. The main character, in the guise of a young journalist, has infiltrated a nightclub to obtain sensational information. So that no one would recognize the girl, she dresses up as a waiter and serves drinks. The journalist learned that the second son of the ducal family, Telem, was at the club today. He was throwing a party and enjoying the company of beautiful girls before his wedding. The main character wants to take a photo of the duke's son. It will be a sensation. The girl thought about the upcoming fame. Her article and photos will be printed on the front page of the main newspaper of the city. Suddenly, the journalist heard a familiar voice in the room next to her. Apparently, it was the voice of a young man close to her. The girl could not understand what he was doing in a nightclub, so she decided to check it out. The main character opened the door of the room from which her boyfriend's voice could be heard. It would have been better if she hadn't done this, because she saw her lover in the arms of another girl, who confessed her love to him. The journalist did not expect such a turn of events. Her boyfriend turned out to be a liar. He cheated on the main character with another girl. This greatly upset the seeker of piquant sensations. The main character threw the tray of drinks she was carrying on the floor under the guise of a waiter and ran out of the nightclub. She can't believe that all this is really happening. Is her fiancé Roland cheating on her with another woman? During the run and mental anguish, the journalist began to transform. The main character gradually acquired her true appearance. She turned into a luxurious aristocrat who was dressed in a beautiful dress. The girl has a magical ability to change her appearance beyond recognition. That's why she works as a journalist and collects various sensational materials to become famous. But by a twist of fate, today the girl finds herself in the place of the heroes of her reports. The main character of the story is called Rebel Evala. She is a viscountess and comes from an ancient aristocratic family. The girl is distinguished by her beauty and ability to transform into any image. Rebel Evala uses her transformation skills in her journalistic work. She has a professional pseudonym, Belle. This helps her successfully hide her real identity. The main character began to lead a double life after her father, Viscount Ivala, went bankrupt due to his unhealthy addiction to gambling. He squandered all his fortune, and Rebel had to find a job to survive. The girl's fiancé, Roland, was her only ray of hope in the Dark Kingdom. The main character loved her young man very much and had high hopes for him. But today, everything has changed. Unfortunately, Roland turned out to be a traitor and a lustful scoundrel who does not deserve the love of the beautiful Viscountess. And although she is poor and has survived ruin, but the girl still has aristocratic pride. The main character feels very bad after she exposed her fiancé. She sits in the secret bar and cries. The girl is now in great pain and alone, and no one is around to help. The bartender approached the unfortunate Viscountess and offered her a cocktail called The Night When Ladies Forget Everything. This piqued Rebel's interest. Evala was a little distracted from her problems. The bartender said that one cocktail would be enough to forget all the sorrows and hardships. According to the secret bar worker, it is simply a miracle cure. The main character decided to take the advice of the caring bartender. The girl ordered several cocktails at once, and in 5 minutes all the glasses were empty. The bartender did not expect that the Viscountess would be able to drink so much alcohol at one time. The surprised bartender left. Rebel Evala is left all alone again. The girl looks at her reflection in an empty glass. Even after several cocktails, the main character remains sober. Today, sadness is stronger than hops. Rebel Evala got bored. The girl looked around and suddenly saw an interesting young man in a white suit who was about to order a drink at the bar. This man interested the unfortunate girl. The main character went to the bar to order a stronger drink and take a closer look at the interesting man in the white suit. It is worth mentioning that in this entertainment establishment, all visitors wear masks so as not to be recognized. That is why the bar is called secret. Suddenly, previously drunk, Rebel Evala's cocktails began to affect her fragile body. The girl instantly became drunk and began to lose her orientation in space. The main character staggered and almost fell on the floor of the bar, but she was saved by a handsome stranger in a white suit. This mysterious young man looked closely at the tipsy Viscountess and decided that it was time for him to intervene in the events that were taking place. The girl needed his help. Otherwise, she would get into trouble. The ladies' man picked up Rebel Evalu when she fell on the floor of the bar and picked her up. The girl froze from the unexpected intervention of the mysterious man. She does not know what to say, but she enjoys the embrace of a handsome young man. When the main character came to her senses, the young man in the white suit let her go and returned to the bar counter. Rebel Evala smiled and thanked the man for his help and care. The girl looked closely at the man who helped her. The main character thought that he caught her very elegantly and deftly, but did not even ask her name. Rebel Evala decided not to waste time and get to know the mysterious man better. The alcohol she had recently drunk played a role in this. The girl sat down next to the young man and began to talk to him. The main character told a stranger about her problem. Rebel Evala poured out everything that was on her soul to the first person she met. She also mentioned that she was now free, because her fiancé turned out to be a vile traitor. The mysterious stranger listened attentively to the Viscountess and smiled enigmatically. He did not answer the girl who was so frank with him. This puzzled Rebel a little. I have 425. The main character drank another cocktail and became cheerful and cheeky again. She winked at the man in the white suit and said that she was in a rather absurd situation. The stranger is silent and listens attentively to the frank girl. The Viscountess does not fall silent. She told the man that he is a very good listener. This flattered him. Rebel Evala suddenly fell silent and thought for a few seconds. After that, the girl laughed and said that she had decided to start dating another man now. And as her lover, the Viscountess chose a stranger in a white suit. A tipsy woman does not control her words. The main character directly offered the first person she met to marry her. The stranger did not expect such a turn of events and does not know what to answer the drunk girl who is imposing herself on him. The man in the white suit is a little taken aback, but he hasn't lost his composure because he's seen a lot in this life. The main character continues to insist on her own. She needs to marry this young man, no matter what. The stranger looks closely into the eyes of the Viscountess. He must make a decision immediately and give his answer to this unusual girl who, apparently, behaves sincerely with him. The young man thought for a moment and smiled mysteriously again. It seemed that the stranger had already made his decision. The meaningful silence lasted only 2 seconds. After this forced pause, the man said that he agreed to marry the Viscountess. After these words, the main character's happiness knew no bounds. She got what she wanted. It's a sunny morning. Green leaves are falling from the trees in the warm summer breeze. The weather is beautiful. The main character woke up in her house. She has a hangover and a headache. The Viscountess came down from her room to read the morning mail. The girl thinks that she doesn't remember how she got home yesterday. She needs to drink less alcohol. Rebel Evala unfolded the morning newspaper and began to read. The news did not please the main character. Her ex-fiancé, Roland, announced to the whole world that their engagement was just a stupid joke, and he will marry another woman. This is a real shame for Viscountess Evala. The main character rolled up the hated newspaper and wanted to head back to her room to sleep off the fun she had had at the secret bar yesterday. But suddenly the girl heard a carriage pull up to her house. An unfamiliar carriage stopped at the front entrance of Rebel's house. Evely. It turned out that it was a messenger from the Archduke of the kingdom himself, who is the heir to the throne. The messenger handed the Viscountess a message from the prince and left. The girl opened the envelope and saw a marriage certificate in it. The Archduke wants to marry Rebel Evala. The main character laughed and thought it was some kind of joke. Rebel Evala continues to laugh and thinks that all this is someone's stupid fun. To marry the crown prince. This cannot be. The main character thinks that she has never seen him and does not know him. Several days passed. The main character finally came to her senses after the drinking session in the secret bar and completely forgot about the stupid joke that someone had recently played on her. Suddenly, the girl received another letter from the Archduke. The Viscountess opened the envelope and read the message from the prince. The girl could not believe her eyes. The Archduke personally invites Rebel Eval to visit his castle. This is serious. The main character begins to understand that the situation is becoming serious. The letter from the Archduke was delivered by a handsome young knight who introduced himself to the Viscountess as Irene. According to him, he was obliged to accompany Rebel Eval to the prince's castle. The young knight bowed gallantly, called the main character Archduchess, and invited her to enter the luxurious carriage that was to take the girl to the Archduke's castle. Rebel Evala feverishly rereads the letter from the prince and still can't believe what is happening now. She is riding in a luxurious carriage to the Archduke's castle for an official audience with the prince. This is just some kind of dream. The Viscountess calmed down a little, sitting in the soft carriage. The measured clatter of the wheels on the road has a beneficial effect on the nervous system. The girl thought about the current situation. She tries to understand how all this became possible. The girl thought that she would lose her head if she met Archduke Sistine von der Rant. This famous aristocrat has a strong character. There is a high probability that he will not like the Viscountess. The scene has changed. At the moment, the main character lives in the real world. She is reading a book about Archduke von der Rant. According to the novel, the aristocrat was engaged to Lady Yuri. But this flighty and vain girl was disappointed in her fiancé and left him. This was a heavy blow for the Archduke. Lady Yuri always craved power. She quickly married the greedy and evil Duke Filet. After that, the couple rebelled. It was a very dangerous and difficult time in the history of the kingdom. The main character is unhappy with the plot of the story. The girl doesn't like that there is no romance and true love in this book. The author would do well to fix this. The protagonist's reading continues. Archduke Sistine von der Rant was furious when he learned that his former fiancée, Lady Yuri, and Duke Filet had rebelled. He quickly and brutally suppressed the rebellion and restored order to the kingdom. The book ended. The girl finished reading it with great displeasure. The reader felt that the author of the novel had deceived her expectations. Instead of a romantic love story, the main character got some kind of cruel narrative in the genre of dark fantasy. Based on the story the girl read, Rebel Evala is only a minor character. She took part in the rebellion of Lady Yuri and Duke Fila. For this, the heroine was killed by Archduke Sistine von der Rant. Rebel Evala had been getting on the Archduke's nerves even before the uprising. She was constantly watching her master because she showed an increased interest in him. One day, the Viscountess was caught by the guards while she was following Sistine von der Rant. Such behavior is not allowed for aristocrats and should be punished in an exemplary manner. The Archduke was bitter about the betrayal of his former fiancée, Lady Yuri. So he took out his rage on the unfortunate rebel. Evele and brutally killed her. It is for this reason that the main character is afraid of the upcoming meeting with the Archduke. Now, the girl is in Rebel's place Ively, because she magically ended up on the pages of the novel about Archduke von der Rant. The Viscountess stopped thinking about the plot twists of the story she found herself in. The carriage delivered the girl to the Archduke's castle. Now the future of the main character depends only on the will of Archduke von der Rant. Rebel Evela got out of the carriage and headed towards the palace of her master, who suddenly invited her to an audience. In the palace, the main character is already awaited by humble servants. They greet their mistress with great respect and show a sincere desire to serve in everything. One of the maids called Rebel Evalu as an archduchess. This seemed very strange to the main character. She always believed that she had the title of viscountess. But this is the second time today that she has been called an archduchess. There is some mistake here. The maid asks the main character to follow her. The servant wants to show the guest her new quarters where she will feel good and will not need anything. Rebel Evela stopped at the entrance to her new room and froze in surprise. Now she would have one of the most luxurious chambers in the kingdom. The servant said that the Archduke was away for now, but he would be arriving soon. So the girl could rest a little. The Viscountess entered her chambers and looked around. She was in complete admiration, because she had never seen such splendor and luxury in her life. The girl looked at the numerous servants who were obediently standing at the entrance to her room. This made her even happier. Could it be that all these people would now fulfill all her wishes? Rebel Evala looked at the expensive furniture that filled her room. These chairs, sofas, and tables cost a fortune. Her family had never had such luxurious things in their home. A few minutes later, the main character came to her senses and calmed down a little. The girl thought that she had ended up in a lion's den, where she was in mortal danger. But she was not going to lose heart and decided to survive at any cost. Suddenly, Archduke Sistine von der Rant appeared. He walked into the corridor majestically and confidently. All the servants immediately bowed to their master, so as not to incur his wrath. The main character saw the Archduke and also froze in a respectful bow. She greeted the young aristocrat and spoke to him to clarify the situation, but the Archduke suddenly interrupted Rebel Evelu and came very close to her. The gentleman told the main character that she had no need to bow her head before him. Now she had every right to do so. This puzzled the girl very much. The young aristocrat gently touched Rebel's beautiful face, Ively, and said that he was very glad to see her. Finally, the Archduke met his bride. These words caused a surge of joy in the main character. The Viscountess feels happy, but she still cannot understand how it happened that she now finds herself in the status of the future wife of the famous and powerful Archduke Sistine von Durant. The main character and her future husband decided to retire to get to know each other better. They drink tea and have a normal small talk. To begin with, the young people decided to introduce themselves to each other. Rebel Ivela looks at her interlocutor carefully and recalls his description in the novel she read. Everything matches completely. The Archduke turned out to be a fair-haired man who is the embodiment of true nobility, which is inherent in the imperial family. One look at this gorgeous man, who has an excellent physique, is enough for any girl to fall in love with him. The girl appreciated her potential husband and thought that nothing terrible would happen if she just married him. In any case, it would be pleasant. These thoughts made the main character feel a little dizzy, and she almost missed her cup of aromatic and delicious tea. But the main character decided to think rationally and act pragmatically in the current situation. Rebel Ivela turned to Archduke von Durant to clarify the main question that was tormenting her. The girl asked her interlocutor if there was any mistake. Perhaps the young aristocrat had confused her with someone else, and he should marry another girl. The Archduke looked at the Viscountess and sipped some tea from his cup to fill the awkward silence. The young aristocrat replied that there could be no mistake. He wanted to marry Rebel Ivela. The girl remembered that the Archduke had recently publicly declared that he wanted to end his line and would never have children. This information was printed in all the newspapers. The young aristocrat replied that he was ready to change his mind. He had reasons for ending his family line before, but now they had faded into the background. Rebel Ivela herself proposed marriage to the Archduke. All that was left was to sign the marriage contract. Sistine von Durant added that he had not forgotten the night he had spent with the Viscountess. She had promised that night that she would love the young man for the rest of her life, no matter who he was. But for that, he had to agree to share her bed at that very moment. The main character does not believe her ears. The girl thinks that the interlocutor is making fun of her. This simply cannot be, because the Viscountess does not remember spending the night with this young man. The Archduke looked at the girl in surprise and asked why she looked so stunned and did not believe his words. They spent the night together after meeting in the secret bar. The main character does not believe that she is capable of such a thing. She does not remember this young man at all and the time she spent with him in bed. It all seems like some kind of bad joke. The Archduke replied to the girl that if she needed proof of their intimacy, he could provide it immediately. Rebel Ivela refused, covered her face with her hands, and burst into tears. It seemed that Sistine von Durant was not deceiving her. After a few minutes, the Viscountess calmed down a little and came to her senses. She said that she could not become the Archduke's wife because she had a hobby that would disgrace the family of the heir to the throne. The girl said that she was engaged in journalism and that this could negatively affect the reputation of Archduke von Durant. Earlier, Rebel Ivela often wrote articles criticizing the heir to the throne and his relatives. The main character thought that she should not get close to the Archduke if she wanted to live a long and happy life and not end up on the chopping block, dying from the sword of a young aristocrat. The Viscountess remembered why she had to write critical articles about the Archduke. The girl always acted incognito during her journalistic investigations. But one day, her secret was revealed by the editor-in-chief of the newspaper where she worked, who caught the main character during yet another transformation. At first, the editor-in-chief was very surprised, but after thinking for a while, he decided to use the girl's secret for his own purposes. The main character had no other choice at that moment, and she decided to cooperate with her boss. The editor-in-chief threatened the journalist to reveal her secret identity if she did not write a sensational article that he ordered from her. If Rebel Ivela, who always signed her articles with the pseudonym Belle, did not agree to work for the editor, then she risked her life. After some time, a suitable opportunity for a sensational article appeared, and the girl immediately got down to business so that the editor-in-chief would no longer threaten to reveal her identity. Archduke Sistine von Durant publicly announced that he would never marry again. He did so because he was disappointed in women and true love. The young aristocrat felt at that moment that he would be better off alone forever. When the main character learned of this stunning news, she began a personal journalistic investigation to find out the true reasons for the Archduke's refusal of female society. Rebel Ivella began to watch the estate of a young aristocrat. One evening, a strange person approached the house of the Archduke, pushing a cart loaded with a secret cargo. The mysterious man was met near the house by the Archduke, who was wrapped in a cloak. The owner of the cart showed the young aristocrat the cargo he had delivered to him on the cart. It was a rare and expensive herb called raya. The main character secretly watches the Archduke and the man who delivered him the miraculous herb, which is now very difficult to obtain. The girl immediately had many questions about this herb. The young aristocrat paid for the goods that the man had safely delivered to him. They thanked each other and went their separate ways. The Archduke took the raya herb with him. The main character tries to understand why Sistine von Durant needs so much medicinal herb. The journalist had heard somewhere that the raya herb had healing properties and increased male potency. Therefore, the girl decided that the Archduke was buying up the medicinal herb because he was sick and could not have children. The main character returned home and decided to write a sensational article about how Sistine von Durant was unable to have relationships with women and could not become a father. At that moment, rebel to Ivelle, it seemed obvious. The girl wrote her scandalous article and went to the editor-in-chief to show her work. The boss looked at the article by reporter Bell and said that this is exactly what he needs now. It will be a real sensation. The article by the reporter Bell, into whom the main character had transformed, appeared on the front page of the local newspaper the next day. It was a sensational piece of material that greatly affected the reputation of the Archduke. Everyone began to consider the young aristocrat an inferior man after the article was published. The main character became a famous journalist overnight under the pseudonym Belle. At first, the girl was happy about her success, but then she realized that she was risking her life. The identity of the scandalous reporter could be revealed, and the Archduke would execute her. These were all Rebel's memories. Evils, who visited her during tea with Archduke von Durant. At this point, the main character is a potential wife of a young aristocrat and does not know whether she should reveal the truth about her double life. The Viscountess understands that the young aristocrat has taken a liking to her, but her conscience is bothering her. Perhaps the girl should leave everything as it is and not tell the Archduke anything. If the main character keeps silent and marries a rich and noble Archduke, she will get everything she has dreamed of for many years. The girl will have a lot of money, honor, and power, but one day there may come a moment when Sistine von Durant learns the truth and wants to figure it all out. And then the main character will pay with her head for her lie. Rebel Ivella clearly imagined the Archduke holding the scandalous article in his hands and reading it out loud. It was simply awful. Sistine von Durant learns that the girl worked as a journalist under the pseudonym Belle, and it was she who made everyone believe that the Archduke was an inferior man. The main character will try to explain to her husband that she was blackmailed by her boss. That's why she had to write this terrible article. She was afraid to tell the truth to the Archduke because she didn't want to risk her life. Sistine von Durant will not listen to any excuses from the girl. He will order the main character to be captured and executed. Rebel Ivella imagined all this very vividly and clearly. That's why she thought that a wedding with the Archduke could be a death sentence for her. The main character is in confusion. She wants to marry a young and handsome aristocrat she likes, but she is ashamed of her past actions. The girl does not know what to do. The Viscountess's potential husband cannot understand what is going on in her soul, but he sees that his interlocutor is embarrassed by something. The Archduke rose from the table and said that Rebel Ivella can pursue any hobby as long as she does not harm the royal family and the state. The Viscountess looked at the Archduke carefully. She really wants to find the best way out of this complicated situation. The main character also got up from the table. The young aristocrat took the girl by the hand and looked into the eyes of his bride. He gently said that he would not give up on his desire to marry Rebel Evil. Sistine von Durant fell in love with the Viscountess with all his heart, and now he cannot live without her. The Archduke will do everything in his power to make his bride happy. The main character does not know what to answer the young aristocrat. She liked him too, but past deeds can destroy the unfortunate girl. The Archduke said that he wanted to introduce the main character to his mother. She is not asleep yet, so we can visit her together. The Viscountess is not ready for such an important meeting. The girl told her interlocutor that she was not dressed appropriately for such an occasion. Sistine von Durant looked at his bride carefully and said that she looked great in any clothes, so she had nothing to worry about. The main character did not expect such an answer from her interlocutor. The Archduke's words greatly flattered the girl and surprised her. A few minutes later, Rebel Ivela and Sistine von Durant went down to the courtyard and got into the carriage to go to the Dowager Archduchess. For a while, the Viscountess was speechless and simply followed her potential husband. The girl had been through too much stress today. The young aristocrats head to the Archduke's mother. At this time, the main character thinks about her unexpected engagement and that terrible article in which she criticized Sistine von Durant. The Viscountess recalled that after the ill-fated article was published, the editor-in-chief suddenly decided to go on vacation. It was very strange. The main character took the form of reporter Belle. She decided to talk to her colleagues about her boss's vacation, but they couldn't help her. They only said that the editor-in-chief was going on an indefinite vacation. The girl's boss never returned to his workplace. The Archduke's carriage approaches the luxurious castle of the Dowager Archduchess, who is Rebel's future husband. Avely's own mother. The Viscountess enjoys the beautiful view of the Archduchess's estate and thinks that she will have to deal with the sudden disappearance of her former boss. There is something strange here. The journey ended and the carriage stopped at the front entrance of a luxurious castle, which is famous for its beauty throughout the area. The Dowager Archduchess spends the evening in her room. She looks out the window and admires the evening sky and the stars. Sistina von Duranta entered the room. She reported that the young Archduke had arrived with Viscountess Rebel. Eveloi. The Archduchess listened to her maid and thanked her for her service. Sistine von Durant's mother fell silent and thoughtful. This was quite an unexpected visit for her. The Archduchess began to sort through the secret documents that are on her desk. This is an investigation into Rebel Ivel, which was secretly carried out by the mother of the young Archduke after the publication of a scandalous article about him. The Viscountess and her fiancé entered the Dowager Archduchess's estate. The girl thought that she had to run away from here urgently before it was too late. The young Archduke noticed his companion's agitation. He asked the girl if everything was all right with her. The main character replied that she was perfectly fine. She was just a little nervous about meeting the Dowager Archduchess. Sistine von Durant said that the Viscountess had nothing to worry about. His mother had always been kind-hearted. The main character hopes that this is true. Rebel Ivela had heard that the Empress Dowager had a rather strange hobby. She liked to test the limits of human capabilities. For example, she once wanted to find out who could beat a horse-drawn carriage in a high-speed train race. The young Archduke's mother also wanted to see how many people could fit in her carriage. The Empress's strange activities alerted the main character. The girl heard from her colleagues at work that the old Empress had a proud character and constantly suffered from boredom, showing her dissatisfaction to those around her. If the experiments were unsuccessful, the Dowager Archduchess punished all these aristocratic amusements. The Empress always punished high treason only with a cruel execution, which everyone feared. She could spare the criminal if he could amuse her. The old Archduchess never held back when it came to punishing traitors. She could easily feed criminals to the sharks. In addition, the Empress has a powerful intelligence service and guards that burn the estates and lands of traitors. She is a terrible woman in all respects, who never forgives anyone for anything. This is what the main character thought about her fiancé's mother. Unexpectedly, the widowed Archduchess came out to the guests and greeted them joyfully. There is no trace of displeasure on the Empress's face. She is an excellent master of the art of hypocrisy and does not show the Viscountess that she knows everything about her double life. The Archduke bowed to his mother and greeted her joyfully. The Empress also greeted her son. She was very glad to see him. The main character looks closely at the widowed Archduchess and thinks that for her two sons, she has always been a loving and caring mother. But for everyone else, she is a cruel mistress who knows no mercy. The Empress turned her attention to the Viscountess. She greeted the girl and asked who she was. The Archduke hastened to introduce the main character to his mother. Sistine von Durant said that this girl was his fiancé. The Viscountess bowed politely to her fiancé's mother and greeted her. The Dowager Archduchess looked at Revel with puzzlement. Ivelu. She tries to hide her displeasure that the young Archduke chose this girl, who leads a double life, as his wife. The Empress noticed that the Viscountess was very worried. The girl was sweating profusely from her worries. It seems that the main character is afraid that the Archduchess will reveal her secret. Sistine von Durant's mother decided to tease Rebel a little Ivelu to see her reaction. Perhaps she herself will reveal her secret, and the unwanted engagement will be broken off without any extra effort on the part of the Empress. The main character froze in a polite bow before her fiancé's mother. But the Archduchess does not even think to give the girl a sign to finish her greeting, which is required by the rules of palace etiquette, and change her pose to a more comfortable one. The Empress ordered the Viscountess to raise her head and change her position when she saw that the girl was tired of standing in a respectful bow before her. The main character breathed a sigh of relief. Sistine von Durant's mother approached Revel Evile, whispered in her ear that the girl's head was too heavy for long bows. She could fix that by cutting off the girl's head. That's what the Archduchess joked. The Empress tickled the main character's chin, smiled mysteriously, and asked the girl if she was ready to part with her head to get rid of the extra weight. The situation was becoming a little awkward. To defuse the situation, the young Archduke intervened. He told his mother that the Viscountess was very nervous and might misunderstand her joke. The main character was very happy that her fiancé intervened in a dangerous situation and saved her from a cruel empress who makes terrible jokes. Rebel Evila tried to gather her courage and endure this test with dignity. The young Archduke looked at his mother and asked her to dispense with the usual teasing for which she is famous throughout the empire. The Dowager Empress does not know what to answer her son. The Archduchess did not expect her son to possess such ardor and passion. It seemed that the Viscountess evoked sincere and deep feelings in Sistine von Durant. The Empress quickly understood all this and laughed loudly, pretending that her threats to the Viscountess were just an unfortunate joke. The future mother-in-law of the main character smiled sweetly and said that she just wanted to joke and ease the situation. Did it really turn out the other way around? She apologized to the Viscountess for her stupid behavior. The Empress hugged her future daughter-in-law tightly and said that she was very happy to have her in her castle. She was delighted that her son had finally settled down and ended his bachelor life. The mother turned to the young Archduke and asked him to leave the women alone. They needed to whisper a little and discuss some matters that were not worthy of a man's ears. Sistine von Durant looked at his mother, puzzled. He did not want to leave his bride. But if his mother so desired, the Archduke could retire for a few minutes so that the ladies could talk about their feminine matters. The main character did not expect such a turn of events. The girl does not say anything out loud, but deep down she asks her fiancé not to leave her alone with the cruel empress. The Dowager Archduchess suggested that her son retire to the guest room for a few minutes and wait there until the women's conversation was over. Sistine von Durant gave in to his mother and left. Finally, the ladies are alone in the room. Now they can have a frank conversation. This will be a difficult and important conversation for both women, which will affect their future destinies. The Empress touched her future daughter-in-law's shoulder and invited her to come to the table to have some tea and talk. The main character is afraid of doing something wrong, but understands that she needs to accept her offer. Rebel Evela followed her future mother-in-law to have tea with her. The Empress walked slowly and majestically to the table and large, soft chairs. Suddenly, the Dowager Archduchess, without turning to the main character, called her reporter Belle. The girl almost fainted when she heard these words. The Viscountess burst into tears because she realized that the Empress knew everything about her double life. This was to be expected. But the main character could not imagine that she would be exposed so quickly. The Empress took the teapot and decided to pour tea for herself and her interlocutor. She asked the Viscountess how she guessed that the Archduchess knew all about her double life. The main character replied that at first she was confused by the disappearance of her boss, and the Empress's behavior when they met seemed strange to her. Therefore, the girl decided that her future mother-in-law suspected something. The Dowager Archduchess said she had done some research after a scandalous article about her son came out. When the young Archduke read the article, he got very angry and broke some chairs. But he still doesn't know the whole truth. Rebel Evela asked the Empress if Sistine von Durant would marry her if he found out she was the journalist Belle. The Empress smiled meaningfully and said that there was no point in guessing about that. The girl wondered what would happen to her now that the Dowager Archduchess knew the whole truth about her. Maybe she would be executed or fed to sharks. But the Empress replied that she approved of her marriage to her son and wanted to meet the main character's parents. After that, you will need to choose a beautiful wedding dress for Rebel Ively and find a suitable place to hold the wedding. It will take some time. The Empress believes that the Viscountess and her son will have a long and happy life together. She is very happy that her son has sincerely fallen in love with the girl and is ready to say goodbye to his bachelor life for her sake. The main character did not expect such a response from her future mother-in-law, who has always been distinguished by her cruel attitude towards those who threaten the safety of her family. The girl cannot believe that she will not be punished for the scandalous article. The Archduchess said that not only would she not reveal the main character's secret, but she would also make everyone think that the scandalous article was written by a certain reporter named Shu. He is also very well known in the Empire as the author of piquant journalistic investigations. Reporter Shu recently wrote a negative article about Rebel Evalu and her ex-fiancé Roland. Now he will pay for everything. The main character was very happy about such an unexpected turn of events. The Archduchess added that she had one condition that the Viscountess must fulfill before reporter Shu would pay for his article about Rebel. Evale, Sistetten von Durant's mother, promised to protect the main character even from him if he finds out the whole truth about the scandalous article. But for this, the girl needs to do just one simple thing. The Viscountess was glad that she would no longer have to lead a double life and fear the wrath of the young Archduke if he learned the whole truth about her. The girl asked what she needed to do for this. The Empress said that she was in no hurry for now. The Viscountess should prepare herself for an important conversation about the young Archduke before the Archduchess voiced the condition that she would have to fulfill. The main character thought about her future husband and imagined his appearance. While the Dowager Empress talks to the main character, the young Archduke remembers some unpleasant moments from his past. Sistine von Durant recalled one moment when he stands before a fallen peer. Bloody bodies lie around. A terrible picture. The wounded peer reaches out to the Archduke. He tries to tell him something important, but his strength is already leaving him. The boy called the prince a monster. That's all he could do. The young Archduke is afraid. He looks at his hands and cannot believe that he has just used the magical power that has suddenly awakened in him. This has led to tragic consequences, from which many people and the wounded peer of the prince suffered. The Archduke came to his senses. The memories had left him, but a bitter aftertaste from these oppressive thoughts remained in his soul. Suddenly, a maid approached the young prince and said that she would take him to the guest room so that he could wait there until the conversation between the Empress and the Viscountess ended. The Archduke replied that the maid should not worry. He wanted to remain in the corridor and wait for the end of the conversation here. It would be more convenient for him. The young prince let go of the maid and began to reflect on his life. He did not want to marry because he was filled with a powerful magical force that could harm his relatives, friends, and wife. The Archduke's brother took the imperial throne. He constantly watches over the young heir to the throne so that he does not cause trouble and skillfully copes with his magical power, which sometimes behaves very unpredictably. The young prince took a vow of celibacy because he did not want to endanger his wife. But one day, Rebel appeared in his life, Ivella, and everything changed once and for all. The Archduke sincerely fell in love with the main character, and now he wants to connect his life path with her. For the first time in his life, Sistine von Durant felt that the unbridled magical power that had been seething within him and was beyond his control had finally subsided. Love for Rebel Evale forced the magic to retreat. The Archduke recalled his first meeting with Rebel Ivaloy in the secret bar. Then the girl told him that she had a job and she didn't need anything. She just wanted to love and be loved. In the opinion of the young prince, the main character has a passionate power that calms his raging magic. This is exactly what the young man lacked to become a happy person. That evening, the Viscountess confessed her love to the Archduke, grabbed his hand, and with unexpected force pulled him along. The Archduke did not expect such energy from the main character. At first, the young man did not understand where they were heading. The young people entered the hotel room. They had masks on their faces and alcohol was playing in their blood. The main character wanted to immediately move to a new level of relations with the young Archduke. The Viscountess and the young prince immediately found themselves on the hotel bed. This was quite unexpected for the noble Archduke, who was still inexperienced in love affairs. The main character decided to introduce herself first and took off her mask to reveal her face completely. The girl said that her name was Rebel Evala, smiled sweetly. The young prince looks at his interlocutor attentively. He likes her very much, but at the same time, this girl slightly confuses and frightens the Archduke. He is not used to such pressure from the female representatives. The heir to the imperial throne was used to always controlling his behavior. He looked closely at the face of the main character and realized that she had drunk too many cocktails today. The young man suggested that the girl return to the bar, but Rebel Evala refused. The Viscountess felt that she was capable of anything now and removed the mask from Sistine von Durant's face. The young man did not like all this very much. He was puzzled and embarrassed by such a dissolute behavior of the main character. Suddenly, the young blood began to boil in the veins of the heir to the throne, and he grabbed the girl's hand. The young man did it gently, but with enough force to control his interlocutor. The young people came closer to merge in a kiss. There was a short pause. It seemed that the Viscountess began to doubt her actions for a moment, but it quickly passed. The lovers kissed passionately. The young Archduke liked it very much. He immediately realized that he had fallen in love with this mysterious girl, whom he had known for only a few hours. The first wedding night, as usual, passed very quickly, especially since the heir to the imperial throne was still very inexperienced in communicating with women. The noble young man thought that this night would not bring him any more surprises. But he was wrong. Everything is just beginning. Now his life will change greatly thanks to his new acquaintance. The Archduke cannot forget the passion with which the main character loved him that night. It seems to him that an ordinary woman is not capable of expressing such sincere and deep emotions. When Rebel Ivela was already falling asleep, the young prince wanted to wish her good night. But suddenly the girl stroked the young man's face and called him by a strange name. The main character said the name Roland. This surprised the Archduke very much. The Viscountess fell asleep and said in her sleep that she would never forget or forgive her former fiancé Roland for betraying her. The young prince did not wake the unfortunate girl who had recently experienced a personal tragedy. But the Archduke understood everything. The marriage between Rebel Eveloy and Sistine von Durant is beneficial to both of them. The young prince's memories have ended. The action takes place in a room where the Dowager Empress and her future daughter-in-law are drinking tea and talking about the young prince. The main character is very surprised by what her future husband's mother told her. It turns out that Sistine von Durant never expresses any emotions, neither joy, nor sadness, nor hatred, nor love. And especially, the young prince is secretive in the company of his relatives. The Empress asked the main character if the crown prince seemed cold to her when communicating with her. Perhaps the Viscountess found something strange. Rebel Ivela tries to remember any strange behavior patterns of the young Archduke. But she can't remember anything like that. The girl thinks hard to answer her future mother-in-law's question. It might help her become friends with the Empress and get to know her future husband better. The main character remembered the handsome face of her noble groom, and a slight shiver ran through her body. The girl thought that she was very lucky to have found such a groom. But there was nothing strange about Rebel Ivela did not remember anything about Sistine von Durant. The Viscountess told the Empress that her son had always behaved with great dignity and restraint, but he had never shown any strange behavior. The Archduchess replied that the prince only behaved like that with Rebel Eveloy. The future mother-in-law of the main character added that the young prince fell in love with the Viscountess and would do everything to marry her. This had never happened to him before. The Empress said that she had immediately approved of the future marriage of her son and the Viscountess when she learned that they were engaged. She woke the Archduke early in the morning and hurried to tell him about it. The Dowager Archduchess blushed with embarrassment in front of her interlocutor. It was very unusual for her to share intimate details of her family life with those around her. The joyful mother remembered Sistine von Durant as a young child. She said that her son always showed his emotions when he was little. But there came a time when the Archduke withdrew into himself and stopped trusting others. This went on for many years. But when the young Archduke met Rebel Ivel, then everything changed. He began to show his feelings again. The Empress was very happy about these changes in her son. The Dowager Empress received a letter from her son confessing that he wanted to marry the Viscountess. She immediately remembered what a cheerful boy the Archduke had once been. Sistine von Durant freely expressed his emotions. He could cry without hiding his tears from others. Sincerity and spontaneity were always inherent in this sensitive boy. The Dowager Empress especially liked it when her son laughed heartily. This happened very often when Sistine von Durant was a child. The Archduchess took the main character by the hands and asked her for a favor, which she must provide in order to marry the young Archduke. This is very important, and the future fate of her son depends on it. The Dowager Empress looked the Viscountess in the eye and asked her to take care of her son's feelings, which had reawakened after a long break. Rebel Ivela must now support all the emotions that her fiancé will have. This unusual request surprised the girl. The Viscountess spent only one romantic night with the young Archduke in a state of alcoholic intoxication. She does not remember anything of what happened then. And now the main character needs to make the cold heart of the young Archduke melt. This is a difficult task. Rebel Ivela thought about Sistine von Durant. She remembered his appearance. This young man is very handsome and noble. but the main character hardly knows him. The girl is very afraid that she will not cope with the task that the Dowager Empress has set for her. In order to melt the icy heart of the young Archduke, she must love him. But so far, the main character does not have deep feelings for him. There is only sympathy. The Archduchess looked closely at her future daughter-in-law and noticed that the girl had some doubts about her proposal. This puzzled the Empress. The main character decided to give her answer to the Archduke's mother. She said that she would not be able to cope with such a responsible and difficult task. The girl did not dare even to take on its solution. The Empress smiled mysteriously at her young interlocutor and said that no one dared refuse her in the vastness of the empire. Therefore, the Viscountess should think carefully before giving her her final answer. The main character thought for a moment and decided to be completely frank with her fiancé's mother. She admitted that she did not have deep feelings for the young Archduke and did not know how to arouse passion in people. The Empress listened to the Viscountess's confession, put a cup of tea on the table, and said that Rebel Evala has already succeeded. She does not need to be modest and afraid to apply her natural abilities in practice. The Archduchess added that it would be a good idea to continue publishing scandalous articles about Sistina von Durant. These derogatory articles have an exciting effect on the young Archduke. After them, he begins to show his emotions even more. The Dowager Empress promised to take care of the main character's safety if she agreed to her proposal and married Sistine von Durant. If the girl refused, she would regret it very much. Marriage to the young Archduke will allow the Viscountess to start a new life. She will be able to forget about her past life and get rid of the stigma of a loser whose father lost his entire fortune in gambling. Sistine von Durant's mother said she would publicly announce Rebel Evalu will be her son's official wife and will give her the title of Archduchess. Everyone in the Empire will know about it. It's a good deal, and one the Viscountess should agree to. The main character listened to her future mother-in-law and for some reason thought about her ex-fiancé Roland, who betrayed her. He is the complete opposite of the young Archduke. The Empress looked at her interlocutor carefully. It seems that she can read minds, because the Archduchess said that Rebel Evala will be able to take revenge on all her offenders. She will have enough power, strength, and means to do this. Sistine von Durant's mother extended her hand to the main character and said that she demands an immediate answer from her. The Viscountess does not know what to answer the Empress. She still doubts her decision. The main character hesitated for a few more moments. But after thinking it over, Rebel Evala decided to give a positive answer and agreed to accept the Empress's proposal. The Viscountess laughed and happily informed Sistine von Durant's mother that she would marry the young Archduke. A few minutes later, the young Archduke entered the room where the conversation between the Empress and the main character was taking place. Sistine von Durant's mother said that she was very happy about her son's return. She really enjoyed talking to the Viscountess. The Archduchess added that they now needed to arrange a meeting with Viscount Evala, Rebel's father. The young Archduke immediately began to take out an important document from the inside pocket of his jacket. Sistine von Durant took an invitation to Viscount Evala from his pocket. He said that Rebel had given him this invitation a few days ago. The main character was very surprised by this, because she did not remember it. The Dowager Empress took the invitation to Viscount Evala from her son and unfolded it to read. The Archduchess wants to know the date of the proposed visit to the heroine's father. The note says that the visit to Viscount Evala is to take place today. Rebel did not expect such an unusual coincidence to occur. In the girl's opinion, it simply cannot be. The main character asked her future husband when she managed to give an invitation to meet her father. The Archduke answered that it happened in the secret bar during their acquaintance. The Empress carefully read the note that was written on the check from the secret bar. She did not pay any attention to it and said that today it was necessary at any cost to make a visit to Viscount Evala. The Archduchess added that there was not a minute to lose now, because it was already evening and she might be late for her visit to Father Rebel. Evala, so everyone needs to hurry. The main character listened to the Empress and began to worry. She thought about her father, who had most likely already gone to bed. He had already gotten out of the habit of receiving noble guests in his house. Evela's estate hasn't had a general cleaning for a long time. Spiders and mice live there, and there's no decent treat for the noble guests. The main character's father's farm is in decline. Rebel Evala thought for a moment and turned to her future mother-in-law with a request. She wanted to postpone the visit to the Viscount for another day. Such a significant event definitely needed to be properly prepared. The Empress smiled and told the main character that she understood everything perfectly. She knew about the state of affairs of Viscount Ivella. Therefore, the girl should not worry. The Dowager Empress was used to not paying any attention to stupid conventions. For her, only the practical result was important. Sistine von Durant's mother added that this unexpected visit would be a good warning and a lesson for the old Viscount. He must understand what responsibility he would now bear. This was a good time to reprimand Viscount Ivell, who must now live up to his daughter's new social status. He couldn't sink as low as the old Viscount. The Empress believes that she needs to prove to her future daughter-in-law's father that she has changed and that a new life awaits her. There is still some work to be done for the upcoming visit. The Archduchess took Rebel away. Evelou went to her dressing room. She showed her many beautiful dresses so that the girl could choose the right clothes for herself and make the right impression on her father. The future mother-in-law told her son's beloved to choose any dress she liked. Now the girl has complete freedom of action. The Viscountess did not expect such a turn of events and was very surprised by the Empress's generosity. While the main character chooses a new dress for herself in the company of the Dowager Empress, Viscount Ivella walks around his estate and tries to find his daughter. The bankrupt aristocrat was hungry. He was not used to taking care of himself, so his daughter cooked for him. The Viscount entered Rebel's room, but she was not there. This circumstance puzzled and angered the surprised father. Viscount Ivella did not expect that his daughter was not at home. He wants to eat, but besides that, the aristocrat believes that young and beautiful girls should be at home and not disappear to who knows where. The father of the main character is very angry. He thought that his daughter leads an immoral lifestyle, which is characterized by low social responsibility. This thought came to the Viscount because of his unrestrained and sensitive nature. Ivella Estate saw Rebel leave with an unknown knight in a carriage that belongs to Sistine von Durant. This is all very suspicious for the Viscount. Father Rebel Ively stands at the window and watches his daughter get into the carriage of the young Archduke. He thought that the Viscountess had been summoned to the castle of Sistine von Durant to be dishonored. Could it be that the innocent daughter of an old Viscount, who gave her a decent upbringing and education, meets at night with the young heir to the imperial throne? At first, Viscount Evelou was very angry about his guesses about his daughter. But after thinking a little, the mercantile aristocrat saw great material benefits in his connection with the Durant family. Now, the bankrupt gambler will be able to bathe in luxury without any problems. Viscount Ivella raised his hands and said loudly that he could now safely reap the fruits of his labor. Thanks to his daughter, he would be rich again and regain his former position in society. This needed to be celebrated immediately, but the ruined aristocrat's joy did not last long. He went down to the hall and heard a carriage drive up to his house. Viscount Ivella looked out the window and saw that Archduke von Durant had arrived to visit him. The greatest impression on the Viscount was that the young Archduke did not arrive alone, but in the company of Rebel, Evelou. The girl got out of the carriage, and her father saw that she was dressed in a luxurious dress, worthy of the Empress herself. Viscount Ivella went out to the street to meet his guests. He noticed that another luxurious carriage had arrived. The father of the main character does not understand what is happening here and why he was given such an honor. The Dowager Empress stepped out of the second carriage, which had just arrived. Sistine von Durant helped her out of the carriage, offering his hand. Viscount Ivella was even more surprised when he saw the Archduchess. The Viscountess's father looks at his guests and tries to understand why they have come to visit him. Aristocrats of such high rank do not come without a reason. There is some mystery hidden here. The important guests headed to the palace of Viscount Ivella to meet him. The father of the main character headed to meet the aristocrats who had paid him such an unexpected visit. The Dowager Empress saw Viscount Evelou, who fell to his knees before her to show his respect. But the Archduchess decided to teach her future daughter-in-law's father a lesson. The mother of the heir to the throne passed by the humiliated owner of the estate where she had come to visit. The Empress pretended that she saw not Viscount Ivella, but his servant, who had come out to greet her. The Archduchess approached the main entrance to the Viscount's castle and asked where his master was now. The father of the main character did not expect such a development of events. He is very puzzled and confused. Rebel Ivella appreciated the Empress's actions. Viscount Ivella, after all, managed to prove to the widowed Archduchess that he was the owner of the castle. He invited the guests into the house and sat them down at the dinner table. The food was meager today. The Empress and her son looked at the dinner table and what was on the plates. It was hard to call it festive food. The plates contained something similar to pasta with gravy, and it did not look very appetizing. The Archduchess sat down at the dining table. She twirled a small amount of spaghetti on her fork and did not like the look of it. Sistine von Durant's mother asked the Viscount if he always ate such food. The heroine's father replied that today he had served the best dish he had. Usually he eats much worse. This greatly surprised the Dowager Empress. She said that such poverty was another reason to have a wedding between Sistine von Durant and Rebel Ivello as quickly as possible. The Viscount was surprised by these words, but quickly replied that he supported his daughter's marriage to the young Archduke. The ruined aristocrat looked closely at his daughter and the young heir to the imperial throne. He said that his daughter might not be worthy of marriage with Sistine von Durant. The Dowager Empress listened to the stupid speeches of Viscount Ivello. She looked sternly at her interlocutor and said that the Viscountess's father should worry not about her, but about himself. The main character is silent and listens to her future mother-in-law. Viscount Ivello does not understand what the Empress means. Perhaps something is troubling her greatly. This needs to be sorted out immediately. The Archduchess looked at the Viscount with disdain and said that she was worried about the Viscountess's father. He did not live like a noble aristocrat, but like a poor bourgeois who did not know his own worth and had no honor. The Empress decided to reprimand Viscount Ivello. The right moment had come. She said that her future daughter-in-law's father had gone completely downhill. His home was in a bad state and the food was terrible. The Viscount also suffered from a gambling addiction. It was simply awful. Viscount Ivello made a pathetic attempt to justify himself a little to the Dowager Empress and her son. He said that gambling was just a small hobby for him. The main character suddenly intervened in the conversation. The girl began to scold her father and ask him to stop gambling. This pernicious hobby had already ruined the Viscountess's father. But the situation could get even worse. Viscount Ivello did not expect that his always obedient and kind daughter would scold him in front of guests. The Empress supported her future daughter-in-law and said that only fools and irresponsible people play gambling for money. Sistine von Durant is significantly silent during this unpleasant but important conversation. His fiancé is also watching her father. The Archduchess continues to educate Viscount Ivello. She demands that he stop gambling. The Empress moved closer to the heroine's father and told him that he had no other choice. If Viscount Ivello did not give up his bad habit of gambling, the Durant family would force him to do so. Viscount Ivello listened to the Dowager Archduchess and was very afraid that she would punish him for his passion for gambling. He promised that he would never appear in a casino again and would give up his pernicious passion. The main character does not believe her father's words. She knows that Viscount Ivello is too keen on gambling because he is hungry for easy money. The girl still remembers all too well how her stupid father gambled away all the money that was in the family budget. He even spent money intended for buying food in the casino. Rebel Ivello looks at her father closely. She sees that the Viscount is struggling inside. He wants to quit gambling, but he has already developed a drug addiction to it. But apparently, the fear of punishment was stronger than the illusory passion for easy money. This ended the visit to Viscount Ivello's house. The young Archduke said that he was going to return to his knightly order. He had business there. The main character plans for her future husband. Seeing off the important guests, the Viscountess's father again fell to his knees and wished everyone present a safe journey. He hoped to see his daughter and her future husband, who is the commander of the Order of Knights, again soon. Sistine von Durant devotes a lot of time to his professional activities in the Order of Knights. The young Archduke is respected by other members of the order and they submit to his authority. The main character realized that her future husband is a very busy man. He does not even have time to eat well. The Viscountess is worried about Sistine von Durant, but he calmed her down and said that he had eaten his fill during the Viscount's dinner. This surprised Rebel very much. Ivello. The young Archduke asked his future wife why she was surprised by his answer. The girl smiled and said that everything was fine. Not every person could digest the dish that her father served today. Rebel Ivello thinks that the young Archduke is still hungry after lunch with the Viscountess's beggarly father. Perhaps her fiancé wants her to pack him a lunch that he can take to work. Sistine von Durant told his bride that he did not need to pack a dinner. He could eat at the knightly order. The Dowager Empress was watching the young people and understood that a deep relationship was developing between them. The Viscountess was doing everything right. The Archduchess decided to intervene in the young people's conversation. She told her son not to offend his fiancé and not to refuse her offer to prepare him a dinner. Sistine van der Rant looked at his mother and his fiancé. They looked very joyful and happy. The prince liked it, but he had to refuse the Viscountess's offer because he had too little time. The young Archduke approached his carriage and said that he would send a carriage for his bride in the afternoon so that they could dine together in the knightly order. But now the prince urgently needed to go on business. Sistine van der Rant quickly got into his carriage and rushed off to his knightly order. The main character did not expect the young prince to behave in such a way. This puzzled Rebel a little Ivelu. The Viscountess thanked the Empress for her help during the conversation with the young Archduke. He is still very withdrawn and cold with the people around him. The main character also said that her future mother-in-law really helped her deal with her father's gambling addiction. Without her, the girl would never have coped with this terrible problem. The Empress replied to the girl that from now on she was part of the Van der Rant family, so she should always believe in her power and remember this under any circumstances. The young Viscountess must now get used to the enormous power that will be bestowed upon her after her marriage to the Crown Prince of the Empire. It is a heavy burden, but it is worth it. The Archduchess immediately changed the subject and said that the wedding would be arranged in a month. This is quite a suitable time. The main character did not expect it to happen so soon. The Empress gets into her carriage and says that she will begin preparations for the future wedding today. She also wants to publicly announce the engagement of her son and the Viscountess. The main character is not ready for such rapid changes in her life. She doubts that everything should be done so soon. Maybe she needs to wait a little. The Viscountess's future mother-in-law wants her to become a journalist again and write an article about the engagement of the young heir to the imperial throne. The main character is afraid that she might be exposed. The Empress replied that there was nothing to worry about. Didn't Rebel think Ivela said that the future mother-in-law wants everyone to know the truth about her? The Crown Prince's mother told the main character that the article could be written by reporter Shu. But then all the glory would go to him alone, and journalist Belle would miss out on a real sensation that could bring her good dividends. The Empress added that the sensational article could be written by reporter Shu instead of the main character if she refused. The future mother-in-law of the Viscountess collected information about the girl's competitor. With them, Rebel Ivela will be able to read it by opening the envelope that is lying on her desk. The Dowager Archduchess said that her future daughter-in-law could decide on writing the article after learning about the journalist Shu. Now the Empress had to go home. She wished the girl good luck and got into the carriage. The Viscountess said goodbye to her future mother-in-law and bowed respectfully before her. The carriage of the Dowager Archduchess set off for her luxurious castle. When the Empress left, the main character thought about the reporter Shu. She needed to quickly find out everything she could about the competitor. This was not the first time this man had stood in the Viscountess's way. Rebel Ivela went to her room to open the envelope containing information about reporter Shu that the Empress had left behind. But the Viscountess met her father, who wanted to talk urgently. Viscount Ivela is very excited. He wants to discuss with his daughter her engagement to Sistine van der Rant. He is also worried about the situation with the punishment for gambling. The main character does not want to communicate with her father at the moment. The girl passed by the Viscount and said that she had nothing to talk about with him. The Viscountess wants to be like the strong Empress in her actions. Father Rebel Ively was angry at her for disobeying at first. But the main character will not let herself be offended anymore. From now on, she is a member of the Dyrant family, so she will behave imperiously. The Viscount understood this and immediately retreated. The main character started to climb the stairs to the second floor to get to her room. The girl stealthily looked at her father and smiled. The Viscount is seething with anger, but is afraid to say anything to his daughter, who is now higher in status than him. The Viscountess really liked this new feeling of unlimited power that she had just experienced. The Empress was right. It was time for the future wife of the young Archduke to get used to power. Joy filled Rebel's heart evilly. She promised herself that from now on, no one would dare to humiliate her. The Viscountess was starting a new life, and she would welcome it with open arms. The main character opened the doors with a smile on her face and entered her room. Now she feels like a real Archduchess who has great power. The girl really likes this wonderful feeling. Rebel Ivela went to the desk and found the envelope left by the Empress Dowager. She decided not to delay and immediately opened the envelope to find out who the reporter Shu was. The Viscountess unfolded the letter that was in the envelope. She began feverishly reading the note that the Archduchess had left for her. The main character quickly read the report that revealed the secret of reporter Shu. She smiled and put the paper on the desk. Now everything became clear to the girl. The Viscountess thought that people never ceased to amaze her with their stupid and emotional actions. It turns out that behind the pseudonym of the reporter Shu is hiding Lady Venica Alaroga, who is Roland's current fiancé. This young man betrayed the main character for Lady Venica. Rebel Ivella decided to reread the report again. While reading, the girl was outraged by the work of reporter Shu, who was too keen on sensations. Because of such journalists, the reputation of the rest of the correspondence workers suffers. The main character reread the report and was overcome with rage. She would not allow reporter Shu to write about her engagement to Sistine von Durant. The girl decided to write an article herself, in which she publicly announced the future wedding of the young Archduke and the Viscountess. This sensational article will be a worthy response to all the vile articles of the reporter Shu, under whose pseudonym Lady Venica hides. Alaroga. This cunning lady will still pay the Viscountess for stealing her fiancé. The main character has almost finished her new article, but she decided to add some words from some authoritative aristocrat. Now she needs to think of who it could be. The Viscountess thought for a moment and found a solution to this problem. But to do this, she urgently needed to make an important visit. Rebel Ivella opened the door of her room and was about to leave, but on the threshold she saw a knight who knelt before her. This is the main character's bodyguard, nicknamed Shadow. He was assigned to the Viscountess by the Dowager Empress. The girl liked the idea of the Archduchess. Now she has a strong knight in her service who is ready to give his life for her. This is a wonderful gift from the future mother-in-law. The Viscountess's bodyguard knelt before her and said that he expected any orders from the girl. Her will was now law for the night. Rebel Ivella looked at her servant carefully and said that she wanted to go somewhere immediately. The knight would have to accompany the girl. He would do it with pleasure. At the request of the Viscountess, the bodyguard escorted her to the protocol department. The main character is glad that the knight made her task easier and quickly found the right location. Rebel Ivella looked with admiration at the large and beautiful building of the protocol department. All the important documents of the Empire are kept here. Now the Viscountess needs to act quickly and accurately to make it to dinner with her fiancé. The main character went to the department, but she was stopped by an unfamiliar young man who works here. He said that no one can enter here without permission. The Viscountess's bodyguard told the department's servant to behave more respectfully in front of the heir to the throne's bride. The stranger did not believe the knight's words. The Viscountess said she had official permission to visit the protocol department and showed the document. The civil servant's eyes widened in surprise, and he immediately became more polite to the girl and her bodyguard. The young man bowed respectfully to the future Archduchess and asked for forgiveness for his impolite behavior. He had certain duties that he must fulfill, no matter what the circumstances. The civil servant asked Rebel Evalu what brought her to the protocol department and how he could help the girl. The main character answered the young man that she needed to sort out the issues related to the rumors about her wedding. The protocol officer said he was ready to do everything in his power for the future Archduchess, if only the girl would give him the appropriate instructions. The main character said that first she needed to take a photo of the protocol officer and send it to the journalists. If the young man had no objections, the Viscountess would take her photo immediately. The officer replied that he would be happy to help Sistine von Durant's fiancé. Rebel Ivella took the photo she needed and added it to her article after she returned home. The girl managed to finish the job on time. Now all her ill-wishers will get what they deserve. The main character finished the article and sealed it in an envelope to send to the editorial office for printing. Now the news of the wedding of the Viscountess and Sistine von Durant is supported by the words and photo of the protocol department employee. This is an important argument. The girl's bodyguard entered and said that the carriage had arrived. The Viscountess's fiancé has sent a carriage for her to dine together at the knight's order. But the girl wants to deliver her article to the editor today so that it can be published quickly. It's a difficult situation. Bodyguard Rebel Ively said that he would deliver the article to the editor himself. The Viscountess can calmly go to dinner with her fiancé. The girl is very happy that the knight will help her in this difficult situation. The main character's guard smiled back and said that he was always at his mistress's service. The girl asked the knight to see to the printing of the article. It was very important. Rebel Vela calmly handed over her new article to the bodyguard and headed downstairs to go outside and get into the carriage that had arrived for her on the orders of her fiancé. Suddenly, the main character stopped in the middle of the stairs that lead to the hall of her house. The girl thought about what had just happened. The mysterious bodyguard knows that the article about the wedding of the heir to the imperial throne and the Viscountess was written by Rebel Evala. The knight might tell someone about it, but the Empress would not assign an unverified person to her daughter-in-law. So he will not only protect the Viscountess, but also keep an eye on her. With these thoughts, the main character got into the carriage and headed to the knightly order to meet her future husband there and have lunch. Who knows, maybe during the meal, Rebel Evala and Sistine von Durant will be able to get to know each other even better and become even closer. A few minutes later, the Viscountess's carriage arrived at the knightly order. The warriors who saw their commander's carriage were very surprised, because they knew that the chief was now at his workplace. Rebel Evala stepped out of her carriage. She smiled politely at the knights she saw and greeted them, introducing herself as Archduchess von Durant.